All right, so again, while you're writing down your table of contents, I'm passing out the notes. Someone has an extra, which would be awesome. All right, make sure you have enough for your row. Please make sure to pass them back. Any extras? Any extras? Okay, cool beans. It's a saying. I don't know. There was a teacher at the high school that I went to, and she said that all the time. That was like her thing. Cool beans. And everyone would make fun of her, and then all the people that made fun of her, not that I would have ever done that, but when you make fun of someone enough, the things that you make fun of, you start doing without realizing it, like saying cool beans. Or one of my brothers has a really goofy laugh, so like I've impersonated his laugh all my life, and now about half the time when I laugh, it's his laugh from where I've been making fun of him so long. I just do it now. So just remember that. Always be aware that, like, when something, like, if you're doing something repetitive and it's not something you want to stick, you probably shouldn't do it. Like laughing at someone's laugh. All right? I mean, yeah, when you have little brothers, you tease them. It came back to bite me, so don't do that. Don't tease your little siblings. All right. On number 9, you'll notice, guys, it says notes/homework on composite figures. So what that means, guys, is our notes and our homework are going to be on the same page. Please do not work ahead, because you'll probably end up making the same mistake I made on one of them. Plus, the way that we're doing our notes today is we'll do a problem. You'll see some like it on your homework. We'll do another problem. You'll see some like it on your homework. We won't be repeating anything. Does that make sense? Because you're going to repeat them on your own on your homework, all right? You'll notice our notes on this page, it says composite figures. But then I want to show you on our worksheet, it says compound shapes. All right, I'm going to go ahead and number this number 9 before I get too far into my discussion and forget about it, okay? Number 9. Compound shapes. So raise your hand if you can tell me, what does the word compound mean? Malachi? More than one. So like if you have a compound sentence, it's because you have two complete thoughts and you put them together. All right, that's the one that pops into my head most frequently. A compound shape and a composite figure or a composite shape are the same thing. Has anyone ever heard the word composite before? A couple of us have. All right. Where have you heard the word composite? Hayden? Okay, so we're thinking, okay. Oh, I like that. Okay, so we can go with that. So like we have prime numbers, which means the only thing that can go into it is itself. And we have composite, which means more than one thing can go into it, right? So it's made up of a bunch of numbers. So that's another example of where composite means multiple things make it up. What's another place you've heard the word composite? Malachi?
I think in English class.
English, possibly. Juliana?
Like a composite of something.
Okay, so like what do you mean when you say that?
Like, I would most likely hear like a composite of gold or something. Like that's what is in my head.
Okay. So when I hear the word composite, I think about, well, okay, so when you get to be an adult, you get to go to Home Depot and Lowe's a lot, and it's usually not as for fun. I've never liked going to Home Depot and Lowe's, and now I feel like I go there all the time. And if you go and you ask where the composite wood is, like go to the lumber section, ask someone about the composite wood, they're going to take you to the wood that's made up of a bunch of different wood, which is usually like a sheet of plywood. So if you've ever seen a sheet of plywood, it has a bunch of like flecks of different types of wood in it because they've used like a special glue or adhesive to stick it all together to make one big sheet. But it's made up of a bunch of different things, okay? So that's composite and compound. They mean the same thing. So that's why I wanted to write down on our table of contents the word composite so we have that written down and be familiar with it. And then on our notes, it does use the word compound because they're saying the same thing. All right, so on these problems, it says to find the area of each figure. It says round your answer to one decimal place if necessary. So on number 1, we have one shape here, but it's going to be made up of 2 or more shapes that we know. Now let's talk about the shapes we know. We know how to find the area of a rectangle. We know how to find the area of a parallelogram, of a triangle, and of a trapezoid. Which one of those is the easiest shape to find the area of? Okay. A parallelogram or a rectangle, because they're the same, right? We have length times width, base times height, and we can use base times height for all of it. So I would say that a rectangle is probably the easiest. Then we'd have a parallelogram, just because the rectangles have any slants in them. No, parallelograms can, but they're still really easy. What's another easy shape out of those 4?
Then you have triangle.
Then we would have the triangle, because it's just base times height, and when all we have to do is divide by 2. And the last choice would be a trapezoid, right? So I would want to choose trapezoid last, because it tends to be the hardest, all right? So we're going to look at number 1, and I want you to think, are there 2 shapes that you see we can split that into that are going to be easy shapes that we know? Hayden. A triangle and a rectangle. All right, and Hayden, I appreciate you saying the word rectangle, because obviously this makes a square. Guys, but did I list square anywhere in those list of names? Did I say square? No, because a square, all a square is a special rectangle, so let's just call it a rectangle, because I know that formula. If we start calling it square, we got to add another formula. Y'all want to add a formula? No? Okay, so we're good with rectangle? Okay, good. I'm good with that. All right, so for number 1, and you'll see, guys, you don't have to do this. I'm going to do this in my notes. I'm going to use 2 different colors just to show. But you'll see also where I've split it. So another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label this as shape 1 and this is shape 2. If you want to get out the 2 colors, you can. Because then I'm just going to outline just so it makes it obvious. Now, guys, here's the thing. If we're outlining in another color, that's also going to take more time. So if you don't want to do it on your homework, I would probably just leave it out and use your pencil to do those outlining to split them up, okay? Can y'all see where I split them, though? You good with that? All right, so I'm going to start with shape 1, which I have labeled as shape 1 and is in the yellow. All right, in the past, what I used to do is we used to go crazy on colors, and I realized that that made it really even more confusing. So we're going to just stick with calling that shape 1. And what formula would I need for that shape? For that rectangle that we've highlighted as shape 1. Hayden? A equals, I love that. We can use A equals BH. What else could I use? Sasha? We could also use A equals LW. When you write your L, how do you have to write your L? As a cursive. Now remember, guys, I'm not asking you to learn cursive overnight. I'm asking you to learn an L. It's a loop-de-loop, like the letter L. So make sure you write a loop for L. All right, so I'm going to do A equals, what is my base and my height, or my length and my width for that first shape? First shape, Malachi, what's it going to be? Okay, 4. My base is 4, and my height is 4. So when I find my area, I'm going to get 16 meters squared. And then I'm going to draw a line, just separating, that's for our shape 1, and I'm going to do shape 2 underneath. Are there any questions on what I'm doing so far? We okay with this? All right. So now for shape 2, what formula am I going to be using for shape 2? Gabe. A equals my base times height, and this time we're dividing by 2 since it's a triangle. So A equals, what is going to be my base of that triangle? Maggie.
I think it's going to be 4.
Why would it be 4?
Because we split the shapes up.
Mm-hmm.
The side of the triangle is just as like the bottom one is just as long as the side of the square we measured earlier that says 4M.
Okay. So y'all see this length of my rectangle has to match the right length of my rectangle, doesn't it? So my rectangle, and guys, you're going to end up loving rectangles on these because it's an easy way to show your measurements match. So the 4 here has to match the 4 on the right. Now, guys, I know this is the bottom of my rectangle. Are you ready? Y'all see the 2? All right, the 2 is going from that bottom piece to the that top, that pointy spot. If it goes to the pointy spot, that's the height on a triangle, correct? So 2 can't be the base. 2 is going to have to be the height, which means this bottom dotted line is my base, which we found out is 4. Are there any questions on why the base is 4 here? Are there any questions on why my height is going to be 2? Are we okay with that? And then I'm going to divide by 2. So area equals 4 times 2 divided by 2. What does that give me? Julia? 4 meters squared. All right. So here's my question, guys. If I have a rectangle and then I have a triangle, if I want to know the entire area, what would I need to do with those 2 different areas? What do you think I should do with them? Malachi? All right. So if we multiply them, that means it's going to repeat and repeat and repeat. Is that rectangle repeating? We're going to add because we're just putting them together. And the operation that lets you put stuff together in math is going to be addition. So up above where it says area, I'm going to write 16 plus 4. Because again, remember, I've got to see where the work is coming from. We can't just create magic numbers. So we do 16 plus 4 and we get 20 meters squared. Okay. Are there any questions on why I added them? Are we okay with that? All right. So number 2, we need to split up number 2. All right, number 2, what 2 shapes do you think we want to use? What 2 shapes, Hayden?
A rectangle and a rectangle.
2 rectangles is going to be the easiest, all right? But this one I'll show you, because just because you can pick the shapes, there's always going to be an easier way and a harder way to do things, all right? So I want to show you. So I could split it here. Do y'all agree that makes a big rectangle and a little rectangle?
Yes.
All right. I want you to look at your big rectangle. Do I know my length and width for that big rectangle? No, I know the 6, but do I know how tall it is anywhere? No. What about the little rectangle? Do I know the length and the width for it? I know this 6, but do I know that little piece? No, because the whole length is 12. Now, could I find the missing parts? We could find them, but let's see what happens if I just split it the other direction. So I'm going to erase that. Let's see what happens if I split it here. So if I go across here, do I know the length and width of this little one? Yeah, it's those 2 6s. Do I know the length and width of the big one? Yes. So guys, if you can split it to where you know your measurements, that's going to be the easier direction, correct? So let's do that. We're going to go straight across here. All right, so I'm going to have my top length. And then I'll have my bottom larger rectangle. Would it have been, could I have gotten the right answer if I split it the other way? Yeah, my work would have just been a little bit longer. Might have been a little bit harder because I have to find measurements. All right, and let's label these as shape 1 and shape 2. I'm always going to label shape 1 and shape 2 because if Ms. Sawyer asks me, well, what do you get for the top shape, I'm going to know where that work is. So label your shape so you can label your work, all right? So shape 1, let's start there. All right, what formula am I going to use for shape 1? Gabe? A equals base times height. And I'm going to write length times width this time just so we can see it. If you want to do base times height, you can do that. That's fine. All right, do y'all see how I wrote my L though? Please make sure your L is a curly Q, a loop-de-loop. Do not give me a capital L or a 1. Okay. All right, so A equals, for that first shape, what are my length and my width, Gabe? 6 times 6, which gives me, multiply, not add, 36 inches squared. I'm going to draw my line because there's my first shape. Shape 2, what formula am I going to use, Frank? We can use A equals BH, or we can use A equals LW, whichever one you want to use, I'm fine with because they mean the same thing for a rectangle. When can you not use A equals LW? What shape are you not allowed to write that on? Juliana? Triangle, because we have to have BH divided by 2. What's the other one, Caden? Parallelogram. For parallelogram, you have to have BH. So if you always use BH, do you have to worry about it? No. All right. So, number 2, A equals, what are my length and my width for number 2? Length and width for number 2. Lily. Perfect. 6 and 12. And when I multiply 6 times 12, I find out my area is what? Perfect. 72 inches squared. So now what do I need to do to find my total area, Jordan? Add them up. So I'm going to write 36 plus 72 just to show what I'm doing with my work. And what do I get when I add those together? Mason? 108, and make sure we put our inches squared and circle that answer. All right. Number 3 looks a whole lot like number 2. So you're going to do number 3 for homework, and we're going to move down to number 4. We're going to move down to number 4. All right. Number 4, all right, we're going to go over number 4, and we're going to talk about number 4 because it looks a lot like number 9. Number 4 and number 9 look pretty much the exact same. There is a little bit of a difference between how we do 1 and 4, okay? Now here's the thing, guys. In my advanced classes, we're going to do number 4, and for homework, you're going to have to do number 9. For my regular classes, we are not going to do 4, and we are not going to do 9 until tomorrow. So for my regular classes, we will do these, but we're going to do them tomorrow. If you're watching the video and you want to see how to do 4, it'll put you a little bit ahead. But for my advanced, we're doing it tonight, and you're going to have to be able to do it when you come in tomorrow, okay? All right, number 4. We need to split it. So obviously, what 2 shapes are we going to have here on number 4? Malachi?
A square, a rectangle.
Rectangle and?
Triangle.
A rectangle and a triangle. So obviously, do y'all see where I'm putting that dot, dot, dot? Are y'all good with that? So that's going to be my split. So I'm going to do my top shape, which is the triangle. All right, and then my bottom shape will be that rectangle. All right, and I will number those, shape 1 and shape 2, accordingly. So top shape is 1, bottom shape is 2. So I'm going to do shape 1 first. What is my formula going to be for shape 1? Maggie?
A equals BH divided by 2.
A equals BH divided by 2. So A equals, and I need to figure out the base. Ideas on what we're looking at for the base here. Gabe, what do you think?
3 feet for time because it's like at the corner.
Okay, so what this 3 feet means is it means this little bitty piece is 3. And then it means this little bitty piece is 3. So is my entire base 3? No. This piece is 3 and this piece is 3. So other thoughts. Stone? Okay, what do you mean? What do we need to do with this? So Stone says he thinks this bottom 8 here is important. Y'all see where we're getting the 8? All right, why is that bottom 8 important, Stone?
It's basically a space.
Perfect. Y'all see my dotted line? Do I know what that is on the bottom of the triangle? No, not unless we look down here at this 8. And do you see how the bottom of that rectangle is going to match the top? So that means this top piece is also going to be 8 feet. All right, so now what can I do to find the length of the bottom of my triangle? What could I do, Gabe Binion?
Add them all up.
Add them all up. So we're going to do 3 plus 8 plus 3 is 14 feet. And guys, when I do that, my 14 feet, it's going all the way across. Do y'all see that? So it's the entire length. Are y'all okay with that, how I added them? And guys, that's going to be important because we were missing a measurement. That's the big difference here. So on number 9, you're going to be missing a measurement, and you got to find it on your rectangle, okay? So I'm going to do my base is 14. How tall is that triangle? How tall is my triangle, Gabe? 12. And then we're going to divide by 2. So I have area equals 14 times 12 divided by 2. What do we get there for my triangle? Hayden? 84 feet squared. And now I'm going to do shape 2. Shape 2, what is my formula going to be for shape 2? Maggie?
A equals L W.
A equals LW. We could also use A equals BH. All right? So A equals, what is my length and my width here, Maggie? 8 and 8. And then what do I get for my area when I multiply?
64.
Very good. 64 feet squared. All right, make sure everyone catches up. Are there any questions so far? All right. So for number 4, what do I need to do last? Lauren? Add them up. So we do 84 plus 64. And Lauren, can you add that and tell me what I get? $148, yes. Feet squared. It's Monday, Lauren, I understand. All right. So number 4 is also exactly like number 9. All right. If you have trouble with number 9, make sure you look at number 4, okay? Number 5 is like number 2. Number 6 is like number 2. Number 7 is like number 1. Number 8, that one looks new, doesn't it? So let's look at number 8. Now guys, I'm going to be honest with you real quick. Number 8, I've done some goofy stuff with today. Because when I saw number 8, I said rectangle and triangle. Because I was thinking composite, let's put them together. And it's true, you can do this as a rectangle and then as a triangle and you can work it out. But second period, someone pointed out, Miss Sawyer, there's a better way. What shape do you notice number 8 is? Okay? It's a trapezoid. How many formulas do I need to figure out a trapezoid? 1. So what is better, 1 formula or 2? 1. So my second period smarty pants got to come in and say, Miss Sawyer, there's a better way to do this, and I felt a little goofy, okay? But guess what? We got the same answer. I had been splitting mine up into that rectangle and that triangle and getting my answer. Well, second period we did it as a trapezoid, and we got an answer. And those two answers matched, okay? So you can do it either way. But I think let's set up number 8 as a trapezoid. Y'all good with that? All right, so trapezoid, number 8. We're going to do A equals base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Remember, we got the 2 bases here. Divided by 2. So A equals. What are my bases going to be? What are my bases going to be here? Maggie?
18 and 10.
So 18 is definitely the bottom. Perfect. So I get 18. Now, Maggie, how did you get 10?
Well, up at the top, there's an 8 cm, and I figured, well, the number at the bottom is 18.
Yeah.
That must mean that the other number is probably about 10.
Yeah. So do y'all? That's exactly what it is, in fact, because y'all see how that 8 goes from the corner to the very end where the 18 stops? So if the whole thing is 18 and this piece is 8, what piece was it missing on top? My 10 centimeters. So we're able to do 18 plus 10. Those are going to be our bases. So we'll label those. I'm just going to label it base 1 and base 2. And what's going to be my height here? What's going to be my height, Gabe? How tall is this? It's my height. Because that goes from the bottom to the top of base 1 and to base 2. So 10 is what we're looking for, divided by 2. So I get A equals, I'm going to add those together. 18 and 10 is 28 times 10 divided by 2. And now I can type it into my calculator. What do I get for my area on number 8? Julia? 140 centimeters squared. That's exactly what we're looking for. 140 centimeters squared. Okay? All right. I want to show you real quick, because I told you, first period I made us do 2 shapes, right? So y'all see how much work that took? Not too bad, right? Not too bad. Well, this is what we did first period. It's really not that much more. Do y'all notice that? So here's where we did the rectangle. We still had to find that yellow piece. We still had to find out that was 10 centimeters. All right? But I did my rectangle 10 times 10 and got my 100. I did my triangle. Remember it told me 8 from this corner to that end? So I knew this little green line was going to be 8, and the height would match my left and right. So I have 10 there. So I did 8 times 10 for my triangle divided by 2. So that's where I got 40 from. 140 gives me the same answer we just got, 140 centimeters squared. All right. I do not care which way you do this. All right. On your homework, obviously, do we have any more to try like that? No, number 8 was the only one. Go us. Tomorrow, we will have another one like that to look at. So you just need to remember you can keep your notes tomorrow out while you're working this. You could see a trapezoid, or we might have to work it, or you might want to work it with the 2 different shapes. All right? So let's use the rest of our time to get our homework done.